Welcome to the Who Work podcast with Michonne Childers, where we stop chasing our why, we fix our who, and transform from the inside out. If you're ready to show up with clarity, confidence, and unshakable identity, you are in the right place. Today's episode is a shift that will change everything about how you move, breathe, think, and protect your peace. We're talking about what really happens when you stop leaking your energy to everybody. This is the moment your life stops reacting and you start rising and finding peace. Okay, there comes a moment when you get tired of leaking your energy everywhere except where it matters. You get tired of being the emotional manager for everyone else, tired of being available for everybody except your own peace, tired of saying yes when your spirit is saying no. Leaking energy is subtle. You don't notice it until you absolutely feel drained. It's overthinking, the over explaining, the over giving, the people pleasing, and the guilt that shows up anytime you choose yourself. But then something shifts, a clarity, a whisper, a divine realignment. You suddenly say, no more. My energy stays with me. Your nervous system relaxes. Your intuition wakes up. Your spirit gets louder. You stop responding instantly. You stop apologizing for your boundaries and you stop explaining your piece. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop leaking energy, you start leading your own life. You become grounded, focused, and unshakable. It's the rising of your identity, the strengthening of your boundaries, and the return of your power. Where is your energy leaking? And who would you become if you stopped today? So let's think about this. I want to start with one truth. Most of the heaviness that we all feel isn't because we're just tired. It's not because we are just overwhelmed and there's just so much going on because of our jobs and all the things. So here's what energy leaks really look like. You're thinking about other people's problems more than your own. You're replaying conversations you weren't even a part of. You're giving advice you weren't asked for. And you're saying yes when you know your soul is screaming, no, no. We've all done that, the people pleasing, right? You feel responsible for everybody's emotions. We've all been there. And that is what I'm talking about, leaking energy. And how does it show up in your body? Your chest can get tight. Your breathing changes. Sometimes you can kind of get a headache. You can get knots in your stomach. And sometimes you can feel overwhelmed about the smallest thing. And that's what happened to me. The other day, I have children, and every one of them called me with something. And I was like, oh my God, I got to stop everything I'm doing. And I got to fix this, and I got to fix this. And then I had friends and colleagues, and all these people were calling me to fix something or to be an ear for them. And it's not a bad thing to be that. But when you do that consistently, multiple times a day, it is going to drain you. It is. We're only human and we only have so much energy in the day. And so, going with this particular day, it seems like everybody was calling. I found out that my daughter had pictures for her volleyball, and instead of just thinking, okay, it's not a big deal, because I had already put so much on my plate and I had given so much energy away, it's like I just completely just shut down for the rest of the day. I just had to lay down. I just laid in the bed and just went to sleep because the day of it was just so draining. I had nothing else to give. It was so easy to just get on the app and just reschedule, right? But to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's one more thing I need to go do. And I just snapped. I just snapped. I told my husband, I'm done. I don't want I just can't. I can't do anything today. And I was just like, where did all my energy go? And this is before I came to this epiphany. I was leaking my energy all day. And honestly, it had become a lifestyle. I am a certified life coach, but I was life coaching all day, 24/7 with, you know, family or friends all the time. 24/7. I was life coaching. And I was always fixing someone's problem. I was always encouraging everyone. I was always giving them ideas of how they can be successful, really giving them excitement about their purpose, just digging into all of the great things. But it left me drained. And I know I'm not the only one. Just think about this. How many times a day do you fix? Do you agree to things that you don't want to do? Do you feel overwhelmed, but you keep doing it anyway? And you're not honoring yourself. How many times are you Mr. or Mrs. Fix It? How many times do you do that all day? Do you just have small conversations that somebody's just really negative and you just keep talking to them because you don't have anything else to do? Or because it's like, it gives me someone to talk to, but you leave that conversation drained. This is something that you can take and apply this to your life daily, and I know it's going to make a big difference. So what happened, I decided to do an experiment. After this day of me just laying in the bed and just saying, I can't, I won't. I can't day. I refuse to day. That's what it was. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not putting a pinky toe out of this bed until I get some energy. I decided, I was like, okay, what if I shut everything out for one day? So this day I gave everything. I overgave, I overhelped, I overencouraged, I gave, and was depleted, bankrupt in energy. What if I did the opposite? So this day I said, okay, I'm laser focused. I'm not going to scroll on my phone on social media. I'm not going to have meaningless conversations just to say I had a conversation. I'm not going to do anything where I'm reaching out and following up with colleagues and say, how's it going? You could do it. All of this. I said, I'm going to conserve all of this energy that I've been giving to everybody else and keep it for myself. And you know what was so funny about that? It's like throughout my day, I felt excited. And it was almost like I had this big secret and nobody knew about it. That's how much energy I was starting to create within myself. And I said, let me put this towards my goals. How would that look? Okay, I feel all of this energy. What if it's controlled and directed? What if I use this energy intentionally? And that's where the shift happened. Oh my gosh. So I started at 9 for the workday. I finished at 1. And in that time, I got more done in that amount of time than I have ever had done in a day, possibly even a week. It was just like non-stop go. And it wasn't draining. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel like I was forcing myself. I truly had an excitement because I shut off all of the things that did not move me forward, that were draining, that didn't support the path I was on, that felt overwhelming. I shut it off. You can get so much done. Just think about how much time you spend scrolling on your phone or walking around the office and talking to your colleagues about who played what in the basketball game or who's going to do what this weekend or who's going on vacation. And you talk about all these things. Or maybe you work from home and you're like, I just feel so overwhelmed and I'm just so this and that. But then you spend a lot of time just doom scrolling. Or even if you get online and it shows you all these negative things, or you watch the news and then you're like, oh my gosh, everything is just negative, and you feel like all this negativity, but you don't realize when you watch those things, when you talk about those things, when you go those places, whatever, those things just leak your energy. And that is what is making us too exhausted to achieve our goals and to stay in purpose. Just think about when you stop leaking your energy, if you did this challenge for yourself just one day, how would your life look? I bet your mind would be still. Your decisions would be more clear. Your body would relax. Your boundaries would strengthen. And you would feel powerful. You'd no longer be in survival mode. You wouldn't be hustling backwards. You wouldn't be at the mercy of everybody's emotions based on who's doing what. You just feel like you're running around in this hamster wheel. All of that would cease. You know, think about not feeling scattered, not feeling like you're stretched thin. So this is the season we're in, right? It is time to step up and shift. It's time to get grounded and focused and be present and gain that power. Be intentional with what you're doing and watch how much more productive you become. It is absolutely amazing. So look, let's take all of this and look at it this way. I want you to do an inventory of your life right now, if you could. And I want you to sit with this today and think about, where is your energy leaking? And who would you become if you stopped today? If today's episode spoke to you, share it with someone who's tired of leaking power and ready to reclaim their identity. Thank you for listening to the Who Work podcast with Michonne Childers. Until next time, protect your peace, protect your identity, and protect your energy.